Greetings, viewers. Welcome to another time-lapse process video by yours truly, AzizDraws. So I decided to do Naruto for my fourth set of drawings in January. And I wanted to go with Sakura first because I had this really cool idea. I wanted to have Sakura showcasing her strength. And so I wanted this to be a composition where Sakura is in the center and surrounding her is the effect of her punch. Like the ground is just in shambles. I thought it would be a really cool, exercise for rendering rocks, as well as creating a focal point for the drawing, having the lines redirect back to the location of the punch, which is in the center. So I thought it'd be a really cool, visual effect, as well as something that would be a nice little study case. But yeah, there's not much to it other than that. But I thought it was fun. It didn't take very long, as you can see on the timestamp that was showed earlier. But yeah, this is one thing you'll notice is I use one brush almost consistently. It's called the oil paint flat brush. If you have Clip Studio Paint, it should be there automatically. I personally am a fan of it. So if you're ever curious as to what brush I was using for the rendering of these rocks, it's oil paint flat brush. In fact, oil paint flat brush is the one I use almost for all of these drawings. That's how much I like it. Will I move on from it? Maybe one day, but it's really useful, especially for quick renderings. But yeah, that is our first drawing for the Naruto set, Sakura Harino. Some people don't like her, some people do. I remember as a kid, I didn't. I got used to her over time, but man, she was dogging my boy Naruto. Wasn't a fan. On to the next drawing. We have Gara of the Desert, 5th Kazekage, and Jinchuriki. Man, that dude was a monster. I mean, now, if you kept up with Naruto, you know what happens now. But yeah, that dude was a monster in part 1. So for the sketches, I decided to just venture out, try different time frames of Gara, like different points in time of Gara, young Gara, adult Gara, teenage Gara, just to experiment with like what we can do. I ended up going for early Gara or part 1 Gara, and try to bring back that emotion and vibe that he had in part 1, like that villainous vibe. Something to show that, this dude was not the person you would really want to mess with. And so I did that. I drew the hand too big. It is what it is. Me trying to do that one cheat code. But yeah, this one was fun because it was similar to the Sakura drawing in regards to rendering ground and dust and sand. So I got more practice with that. I also went for a color palette that is more or less within the same family. Pretty much like, I believe it's called an analogous. A lot of warm colors, most of them in a tan, reds, that area. Because when you draw Gara, or if you draw any of the people from the Sand Village, that's a lot of the colors that we used. So yeah, we kind of have the setting here is kind of him being somewhere in the desert, and then maybe somebody encounters him and is like, oh shoot, and then he's kind of in this battle mode. Like right now, he's got his sand shell protecting him. But yeah, not much behind that. A lot of green. I like adding grain in my drawings, but this is the one time where there was more grain than usual. But it was fitting because it's Gara. This one took longer as well because I believe I was streaming this on twitch.tv/AzizDraws, and so usually when I stream, my drawings take a little bit longer because I have more time to work on it. But yeah, this was pretty fun. I got some good practice for rendering this giant hand. But it was fun. A lot of these drawings were fun. I had a good time with him. If I had another chance to do Gara, I'd probably do maybe an older version of him next time, just to like try something different. Uh, but yeah, nice little pan here. You can also see that I didn't add like any further details on the shadows because usually when the sun hits you like that, light still bounces around, so ambient occlusion isn't as severe. So that's something I wanted to emphasize on. Here we have Pabluto, former subordinate of Orochimaru, or his right hand man, really. But this was perspective practice. I'm actually working on a personal piece that I have been letting bake very slowly. I think I mentioned it before in another video, but it's more or less similar in composition where there is a top-down view and the character is foreshortened. This is, in fact, a very challenging composition, uh, making sure you're foreshortening the body the proper way and making sure you have perspective uh, in check. But it's always rewarding to see something like this, like trying to do something like this and getting it kind of right. I'm sure there's plenty of things I could fix, but I feel like I did an okay job with making sure that it looks like it's in perspective. And that's all I really wanted to do for this composition. At least I thought so. And then I realized I put a puddle under in a realistic setting, a moving object, right? A moving subject. So if you're stepping on water, it's gonna ripple. So I realized I have to make ripples now. So that ended up becoming another visual challenge, knowing if I could actually render water in a proper way. Um, I had some conflict on whether or not I wanted to be more realistic with the water. Should I be kind of anime style with the water? So I ended up with this kind of mix of between them. So I ended up doing the shadow and then distorting it because it's in the ripple, and then adding some like lighting similar to that you would find in anime. You can also see that originally I wanted to have primarily warmer colors, closer to the reds and the blues. But over time, I felt that the blues were more fitting for the character. So that's what ended up happening. It also helped the fact that I made the blue for the water because the pink just looked weird. Water looks better when it's blue, doesn't it? I also added a little bit of a depth of field effect right there. Aperture setting all-time high, just to help with that sense of realism, as realism can show itself in this composition. Next, we have Hitachi. All right, listen. I had an hour. You're reading that properly. I had an hour. And I don't even know what to say for real. It just happened, bro. I just did what I had to do and made it in an hour. And it's done. Oh, man. It's stressful when that happens, when I only have a very small amount of time to do something. But it does feel good when I'm able to finish it. Well, sometimes. So next I drew Sasuke, Itachi's brother. But see what I did there. Anyway, Sasuke, this drawing also is pretty short. I only spent about 2 hours on it, so it was definitely leaned more towards the sketch side than it was full-on illustration. But I had the same idea with Itachi in terms of, okay, how can I create a visual in a quick amount of time while still also being able to deliver the visual expression I had. And so I went about it, pretty quickly, rendered Sasuke, got the shading in, created the lightning effect. The lightning effect I've done a few times, so each time I do it, I try something slightly new or go about it a slightly different way to see what effect works, which ones don't. So same thing happened here. But yeah, another fast one. Usually if I'm doing a quick drawing, it's probably because I was at work that day. So that's why this seems to be happening every week. But yeah. Next we have, in my opinion, one of the coolest characters in the show, Minato. The main character's pops. He's pretty cool. If you don't think Minato is cool, you're just built different. Because, well, that's all I gotta say. But yeah, I decided to draw Minato. He's doing the Rasengan in this piece. He's the originator of it, so felt it would be appropriate to have him doing the Rasengan. More or less, nothing interesting really happened while I was drawing this. It was just like, okay, I have a limited amount of time. Let's see what we can do. Come up with a cool composition, have some nice lighting effects, put the Rasengan in there, Like that was kind of like run of the mill, basically. That's kind of what happened here. Did some cell shading and then painted it in. And I was like, all right, this looks dope. And then something happened, right? I'm shading all this. It looks dope. And I was like, okay, let me mess around with the line art. Line art is basic black right now. What if I made it lighter so that the color showed through a little bit better? What if I did something like that, right? So while I'm changing the layer, it goes to orange initially, because that's the color I wanted to make it, and then multiply it. But then I realized, wait, the orange just looks good on its own. Like no multiply layer, just normal orange. And I was like, this looks really cool. I was with my friends while on Discord while doing this, and one of them was like, yeah, no, you got to keep it. And I was like, say less. So that's the cool thing about drawing these things. Things you don't intend can happen and might actually help make it better. And last but not least, the main character. The lad. Uzumaki in Naruto. That was the last drawing for this set. And I had a few cool compositions. When I was asking the people who were watching me draw this, who were part of the process, when I asked them which ones to vote for, number 5 actually was one that was voted a lot by a decent amount of people. And then, of course, 6, that was also voted for pretty heavily. So it was between 5 and 6. I was like, which one should I draw? 6 was interesting because it had that challenge, and then 5, it's got a cool pose, and it has a cool form. That form for Naruto is pretty cool. Also, I'm a little bit sad that nobody really voted for 9. Anyway, we ended up with 6. This by far took the longest to draw because of how many Narutos I put in here. There's at least 9 and maybe more, if you want to count some of the ones that are like kind of off screen. Like there's a Naruto in front in the bottom right corner, but you only see their hair, but it still counts. That's one Naruto. But there's a few fully drawn Narutos, like the one I'm working on right now. There's one on to the right. There's one underneath. There's one hanging on the tree. There's one standing upside down on a tree branch. Some on the, yeah, there's some, I think there's another one on the ground. Yeah. Bunch of Narutos everywhere. And later on, if you pay attention, there's actually a Naruto in the shadows, so that you don't see their physical form, but you'll see their shadow casting. So I thought that was a cool touch. Originally, the person that Naruto was going to jump was Mitsuki from the first episode, but I felt that, I don't know, some nerd moment happened to me, and I ended up actually realizing Naruto doesn't know how to stand on the trees yet when he fights Mizuki. That chakra control he learns later on. And since I have a Naruto standing outside, it's a very petty reason as to why I changed Mizuki. But that was it. That was the reason. It's because I was like, Naruto doesn't know how to stand on the trees yet. But I ended up changing it to the Obito clan or the Obito team from Forest of Death because by then Naruto knew how to run on trees. So I was like, all right, we'll keep this here. It was pretty funny though because I didn't have a sketch for them, so I kind of just free-handed the line art. It turned out okay, I suppose. See here, I had to be creative with how I colored the Narutos. I couldn't just go in with flats all the way through the piece because that would take longer. And I was trying to finish this before 12. Sadly, I didn't. But I felt that at least having that mindset allowed me to try and finish this piece a little quicker and also still be creative with it. Originally, I thought I was going to put this at nighttime. But as I was shading it, I was messing around with it. I was like, nah, let's make this kind of morning, having like the break, like the sun is like just appearing kind of thing. Or if it is, maybe a little bit after the sun appears. Still like the reverse golden hour. I don't know if that's still called the golden hour in the morning, but that's kind of the vibe I went for. See here, I'm doing some blending for the hair, the rest of the clothes, and overall just redefinition of the elements in this piece. But yeah, this one was cool. I liked making this one. You can see, you see right there? There's that shadow Naruto I was talking about. Just chilling, ready to jump. But yeah, definitely a nice challenge. Wouldn't mind doing something like this later. Maybe you're not right now, still recharging. But in the future, I wouldn't mind doing something like this again in the future. Who knows? Maybe it'll happen sooner or later. Greetings, humans. On behalf of AzizDraws, I, Model A2Z, would like to thank you for watching this video. If you want to continue supporting AzizDraws, be sure to follow him on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch.tv, where he will be drawing live on Mondays and Wednesdays. If you want to continue supporting AzizDraws even further, be sure to go to his Patreon, where you will have access to watermark-free drawings and potentially even Clip Studio paint files to have access to the process and layers of each drawing. Until next time, humans, farewell.